Welcome back to ACB Wrestling Talk, your main source for wrestling news and wrestling discussions. I'm, of course, your host, Alexis Carrillo, and let's get into some wrestling talk. 2019 is coming up. Well, 2019 is coming to a close. 2020 is coming up, which means we've got to talk about goals for companies in 2020, in the new year. What should they be focusing on? And in this case, again, my opinion, in this case, it's time to talk about the new kid on the block. That's right. All Elite Wrestling. What should AEW focus on in 2020, their second official year in business? After a fantastic 2019 first year, for a first year company, that was a fantastic year. But right now, here are 5 things AEW should focus on for 2020. Number 1, and again, this is not in order of importance, this is just a list I made, and 5 things that they should focus on. So number 1, introduce and establish a mid-card title. One thing I've noticed with AEW, watching the few clips that I get to watch on YouTube, because I don't have cable, so I don't watch the complete Dynamite broadcast, but one thing I've noticed is that right now AEW lacks a clear mid-card. They lack a clear mid-card. And that moment became clear to me when Scorpio Sky challenged Y2J for the AEW World Championship. Number 1, there's nothing wrong with Scorpio Sky. For all I know, he's going to be a tried and true main eventer in the future. But in the moment that he challenged Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship, very, very few fans believed that he had any chance, any business, challenging for the world title itself. Simply because up until that point, he had been a part of SCU, yes, a faction. He didn't really have a singles career before that, not to my knowledge. Again, if I'm mistaken, go ahead and correct me in the comment section. And he is one half of the AEW World Tag Team Championships. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great pedigree. That's a great list of accomplishments for Scorpio Sky. But most fans don't really consider that enough to be World Championship material. Now, if you look at the current mid-card scene, you could pretty much point out, Scorpio Sky, who right now is a tag team champion, but in reality, he should be a part of the mid-card and leave the tag team division to Daniels and Kazarian. You've got guys like Orange Cassidy. You've got guys like Darby Allin. You've got guys like MJF. Why not give him a run with the mid-card title? Show the fans that these superstars can carry not only an entire mid-card division, but can also carry themselves as champions. Make us care about them as champions. Make us look at them as if they were top stars. They're just top stars in the mid-card division. And right now, AEW has defined divisions. They have the world title heavyweight division. They got the tag team division. They got the women's division. They need, at least in my opinion, they need a mid-card title. NWA has 2. AEW, the second biggest company in the United States right now, should have at least 1. That's one thing that they should pretty much try and establish in 2020. Number 2, yes, be more sports-centric, but also insert storylines and characters into your product. Look, I get it. From the very first time that I saw an AEW product on TV, I knew exactly what they were going for. They were going for a more sports-centric kind of product, with the fact that they're calling it a league. They have win-loss records. They have more action, more contenders for each and every title, more contenders for each and every division. I get that. But, and again, my opinion, I tune into a weekly show on TV for the storylines, for the characters, for the tension, for the drama, all of that. Yes, we should have some kind of in-ring wrestling. Obviously it's a wrestling show. Go ahead and give us some wrestling and try to convince us to purchase a pay-per-view. But the pay-per-view is there to give us the actual in-ring product, the full 20 to 25 to 30 minute matches. At the end of the day, Dynamite, in this case for AEW, should be the show where you build up rivalries, where you build up characters and storylines and make us care about them and not just care about wrestling. Not just care about wrestling. I get it. Maybe you're trying to go for a different route and that might work in the long run. But right now, if you ask me, they should try to make us care more about these other characters that we don't know much about. We know a lot about characters and wrestlers that came to us from WWE and from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But other than that, most of the unknown wrestlers, they're just that, unknown. Number 3. Sign the biggest free agents available in 2020. Now, Dynamite made their debut on TNT on October 2nd with about 1.4 million viewers. And I think their most recent viewership for Dynamite is about 600, 700,000 viewers. So that's about half of what they had in their premiere. So it's safe to say that their viewership has declined. They pretty much cut their viewership in half. Does that have anything to do with the fact that NXT is putting on a great in-ring product and it's direct competition? Maybe. But at the end of the day, AEW's current honeymoon period of being its first year, its first few shows, the debut of Dynamite, the first world champions, the first champions altogether, that's over. That's over. And you can notice it on the product. Excitement has gone down, unfortunately, for AEW. Now, one easy way to bring back excitement into the product, to jumpstart fans into re-watching AEW with the hardcore passion that they should have, is signing the biggest stars available, the biggest free agents available. And right now, those stars, I could name a few. Those stars are Marty Scurll. I believe his contract just came up with Ring of Honor. He's not going to land anywhere else but AEW or WWE. So bring the villain to Dynamite. Bring the villain to All Elite. Fans will get excited about that. Number 2, Killer Kross. He just got granted his release from Impact Wrestling. You can just look at him and say, that guy's a main event star. That guy's going to carry a company into the future because he is larger than life. And just by looking at him, you care a lot about what he has to say and what he has to do. That's Killer Kross. And number 3, I know she's technically not a free agent yet, but she will be, because I don't think she's re-signing with Impact Wrestling when her contract comes up in February 2020. I hope she proves me wrong, because I love Impact Wrestling, but of course I'm talking about the undeniable Tessa Blanchard. And Tessa Blanchard signed in 2018 with Impact Wrestling. There was no AEW, and WWE did not seem like they wanted to take a shot with Tessa Blanchard. Now, going into 2020, her contract's about to come up. WWE and AEW would be stupid not to throw offers at her and try to lure her in to a major wrestling program. And if it were up to Tessa, I think that she should take one of those 2 offers. Look, Impact Wrestling was good. You've developed your character, you developed your wrestling, you made a name for yourself. Now it's time to do it on a bigger stage. WWE is the bigger stage, obviously. But, you've got more contenders, more bigger stars in WWE. Whereas AEW, and this is going into my fourth goal that AEW should focus on, AEW needs to inject some excitement into their women's division. If you ask me, again, going back to wrestling, their in-ring wrestling product, second to none. It's pretty damn good. But my personal opinion, I really don't care about women's wrestling in AEW yet. There's not enough characters and there's not enough storyline development in the current AEW women's division product to get really immersed into that division. You introduce someone like Tessa Blanchard into that division. Number 1, she's a self-made star. You know that the moment she comes in, she's going to make a damn name for herself and she's going to be a number 1 contender right off the bat. And number 2, you'll get a fantastic wrestler who rivals, in-ring wrestling-wise, your top superstars, both male and female, on the roster. So, hitting two birds with one stone right there is 3 and 4 of the top 5 goals AEW should be focusing on in 2020. And number 5, this should not be taken lightly, is grow, establish, and maintain their viewership and following. One thing that, again, I've noticed over the past few couple of weeks, over the past few couple of months, is that AEW's viewership and their following, as far as attracting fans to their arenas go, is starting to decline. And again, this goes back to the fact that their honeymoon period is over. They are still the new kid on the block, but they've had that. They've had that working for them. Now it's time to really prove themselves. And now it's time to really establish AEW as an alternative. Now it's time to really establish an AEW fan base that knows the product that they are following and why they are following All Elite Wrestling. Now it's time to establish their live event business. Why should you go to AEW Dynamite? Why should you attend Dynamite? Why is it any different from attending a Raw or a SmackDown or an NXT or an Impact? Establish that. Grow your company. Maintain your philosophy and establish your inner culture as a wrestling company and as a wrestling fan base. That and many more are things that AEW should focus on for 2020. But hey, I'm just a nobody right here with my own YouTube channel, giving my opinion on something that a company should do. There are much more smarter people behind that company that, know exactly what their goals are for 2020. So let's just wait and see what All Elite Wrestling brings to us in this new year. So with that said, what do you think should be AEW's next top 5 goals for 2020? Leave them in the comments section below. And that's going to be it for me right here for this video. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. See you next time.